We're expanding the pipe in the bottom,
Cool.
the whole body.
Wake up! Who are you, and how did you get in?
Whoa, relax. Don't worry. I am not real. I'm just a manifestation of your guilt from procrastinating. And I want you to make a new YouTube video that you promised.
Am I dreaming?
Well, you are half awake, so that technically makes me your sleep paralysis demon.
Wait, hold up. My sleep paralysis demon wears a Rey Mysterio mask.
Hey, don't ask questions that you don't want the answers to. Anyway, you earned this in May. It's time to go use it.
If you're not real, how did you hand my belt to me?
Yeah, that's a low budget plot hole.
And how is this supposed to help me make YouTube videos?
My guy, you can now pull rank and use your knowledge to make more clickbaity titles. Just anyway, go clean up your stash and then go to your garage and make those damn videos. You're already losing your audience's attention while making this skit.
Yeah, you got a point. Fine.
Oh, I promised this video and it is long overdue.
In a previous video, I did make some allegations about Ramsey regarding him and his brand of HME Tai Chi. It was harsh criticism, but what do you expect me to say when this is less believable than a fight scene with Steven Seagal using credit cards?
We could take plastic.
I don't care who you are. You're dead.
Yeah.
I did say that I would give him a fair chance because he does offer free jiu-jitsu content, which doesn't justify his inflated prices for his Tai Chi lessons.
Give me back my money!
But I digress. So we'll look into the good and the bad of his beginner jiu-jitsu course found in his Wellness Dojo online platform. So I'm going to start with the downright ugly, which is having access to this online course. I have agreed to a user agreement, which may prohibit me from using video footage from it. I don't want to take that chance of getting copyright strikes or claims.
Guess what? You're a bitch.
So I'll use some screenshots instead, so please bear with me. So let's get into the good. I will give him his chops. They are good demonstrations of solo drills, techniques, drills regarding these techniques, and exercises to reinforce these techniques. Those exercises being games of isolated sparring so that you can figure out that position and those techniques. However, some may be a bit outdated to today's standards of grappling, but they do work in understanding grappling fundamentals. He does address safety concerns with regards to using the thin tatami puzzle mats.
Careful, man. Be careful. We're using the house. Safety. Safety first, then teamwork.
Which is a problem that some people may experience because their budget can only afford such mats. And they should be seriously considered when you're going to be practicing any wrestling techniques. He also uses basic and safe strength exercises, mainly isometrics like holding a squat and planks. Now there is better strength and conditioning exercises and programs that you could use.
I think we can do better than that.
But this course is targeted towards beginners who may not have access to better or aren't that well educated in exercise. So these exercises are good enough to get one started with a minimum risk of injury. There are minimum strength requirements needed for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, otherwise executing many of the techniques will be very difficult, such as guard retention. That does take a lot of work out of your core. So these exercises will definitely help in achieving that minimum strength requirement needed. So let's get into the bad. So this one is a personal preference, as I find Ramsey explaining things very boring. Now, I'm no Captain Charisma myself, but he's not very engaging, and it makes it difficult for me personally to pay attention. And that's probably one of the reasons why it took so long to make this video, because watching that content, well, it's boring. I didn't want to watch it.
So damn boring. Maybe you could put old Stone Cold to sleep.
But that's a personal preference, so you can take that one with a pinch of salt.
The opinion you're about to hear is quite biased. But just because it's biased doesn't make it wrong.
The entire course feels disjointed. So he shows side control escapes to this open guard position, with the next lesson being an instruction on jumping. The next lesson should be guard attacks from him, because he's got a perfect opportunity to teach butterfly guard entries, also arm drags to taking the back, as well as snap down attacks that will lead to the front headlock position. You see this disjointedness from the beginning, with the wrestling stance at the very beginning of lesson 1, then scarf hold instructions. Then the next lesson is wrestling footwork. You only get the wrestling footwork after the scarf hold instructions. There is a lack of depth. As a result, he misses a perfect opportunity to teach a variety of pin escapes, which could lead to immediate attacks, or standing up, which essentially should be the first go-to. And when those fail, heading into a neutral guard should be the secondary option. Unless you are a skillful guard player, but that's not the case for many beginners. Now is it? However, I will say setting up a proper curriculum or course is difficult, especially when you're trying to cover a variety of situations so you can get a base level of understanding. He could make this instructional course of his so much better if he were just to swap the instructional videos around to make it a bit more fluid. However, there are various things that can make this difficult, because if you are teaching beginners and you cannot monitor their progress, how do you fit things concisely and in depth for them to understand? Some people do this very well with the instructionals, but those are top pros. We also need to consider that there may be a lack of resources. Having the time, having competent demonstration partners, and having access to the proper facilities to make a professional looking product do matter. Teaching bad habits. So, as expressed earlier about safety concerns with using thin mats, the double leg takedown is taught from the knees.
What? What the fuck? But what does that have to do with anything?
No. He's got a point.
Does a good job of explaining the level change. However, practicing the double leg from here does leave a few bad habits. Because the level change from here and going in for the hips, I am feeding my head for front headlock counters. This just doesn't match the posture needed to execute a safe double leg. So if we look at a similar position from the knees, which is the knee tap sweep, which you would probably execute from half guard, there's a reason why we're at an angle and we're hooking the leg to twist the base so that they can't turn into us to get a front headlock. Which means we can execute the sweep safely without the risk of feeding our heads for guillotines. And it will give us significant control of the leg, therefore we can pass the legs and get to a pinning position. The other example I would like to use is using the peek out from the sprawl position to take the back. So just look at the screenshot here demonstrating the position. I'll give you some time to figure out what's wrong with it.
Oh! Ew! What the fuck?
The problem is that there's a lot of detail missing from the uke side. This position is missing a lot of context. Why is the uke on his knees? Why have we established this pinch of the shoulder and head so early? There's a lot of variables that's not discussed in this position. For instance, there should be a chin strap and control of the elbow, gripping
just between the tricep and the elbow of this position. Now, I would like to be clear that the technique he shows isn't wrong. It capitalizes on a mistake, but you're teaching the uke to make the mistake and the person at the bottom not fighting for it. Because now this makes access to the elbow a lot easier. That's going around the head that allows you to go around and take the back. Meanwhile, there's a more intricate battle there, and that's what I'm going to be showing now. This allows me to get more weight on my opponent, driving my shoulder between the spine and shoulder blade, that lovely sweet spot, and control the neck. And of course now I'm fighting for control of this elbow. So if I bring it forward, I can pinch right there by the elbow, not in the armpit, so that they can't retract this elbow back. This should leave me the opportunity to go behind and...
We're expanding the pipe in the bottom.
When we get this pinch early, we don't control the elbow significantly. So if I go behind, it allows them to get an underhook. So if I have this pinch too early, the person at the bottom has full control of their elbow, which will help them execute the peek out a lot easier. But what's the battle leading up to the right to execute that technique? And that's what needs to be addressed. I'm a lot weaker like this with my shoulder being pinched to my chin than what I am here. And we need to learn this battle of control of this elbow so that we can learn to get our center of gravity underneath our opponent so that we can carry their weight better and thus start executing the technique. So just by addressing the grip fight, you can see that this technique would be a lot more difficult to execute and you have to earn your right to do so. This is just one of many micro battles that is not discussed in these demonstrations of executing these techniques, because we need to know how do we get there. And if we don't build that understanding, we go like, okay, I am not getting this technique, what am I doing wrong? And without having a coach there monitoring your progress, who do you have to feed you that information? So in conclusion, is the course bad? No. But is it good? Well, it's not great. He does a fairly good job, I would say. However, this course needs some serious updating. And seen from his grappling, what she labels Tai Chi, he can actually teach better than this, I would assume. Okay guys, so this is the end of this video. This will be the last time that I'm going to be covering any HME content for a while. It's boring at this point. I want to focus on other more positive content. So with that being said, thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. Please give it a like and subscribe if you enjoy it, and if you would like to see some more of my content, it really helps and it would be really appreciated. And until next time, take care.